Hello guys, gals, non-binary pals, and waterfowls. It's me, Big Mike, and welcome to my playthrough of the Immaculate Drag fam. And this is a video I have been wanting to do for forever. Like, this has literally been a video I've wanted to do since the very beginning. Well, not the very beginning, but very early on into my YouTubing career. Um, well, maybe career is not the best word to use there, but since around I say January, February of 2022 when I first played this game, and also once I had the opportunity to sit down with the dev and to talk to him, who's an amazing dev by the way, I wanted to make this game. This game has a very special place in my heart. It's a game that I go back to almost at least once a year to revisit it. But before I get too far into this, I need to throw up a couple of disclaimers for this video. First, this game is a heavy game. It's not a long game, just about 30, 40, 45 minutes tops, but the subject matter can be heavy. It deals with depression, possible suicide. So if any of these things are things that set you off or that you might have issues with, you might want to skip this video. Secondly, I am recording this in Windows. Yeah, believe it or not, the Linux guy is using Windows. Yeah, I don't like it. Um, I don't like it any more than you do. However, that's the only way this game was going to get made. I mean, this video was going to get made, so I had to bite the bullet and use Windows. So if my sound sounds a little weird, my mic sounds a little weird, I'm using Windows Game Bar Recorder to record this. So not OBS, not Audacity. So, but it is what it is, fam. Uh, Thirdly, I mostly do these playthroughs in an unscripted style, an unedited style. So if this is your first time watching one of my videos aren't normally like this, but my playthroughs are. Now, that being said, most of these this video is going to be unedited, with the following caveats. If there are technical issues, major technical issues, I will have to edit that out. Or if I have a long pause, I will edit that out as well. Now, that being said, this is probably not going to be a perfect recording. I do have a family. I have a wife, and well, my kid's at school today, but I have a wife, and so you might hear her in the background. Um, Now, also, we are one-shotting this. We are going to one-shot this game. It's a short game, so we'll definitely be doing this in one playthrough. And lastly, I just want to point out that I call this a game, and this is a game, and games very much can be this. But I feel like this is more than a game. This is going to be an experience. And things are going to be heavy. Things are going to get heavy here. So if you watch my Doki Doki Literature Club playthrough, you might notice a difference between me there and me here. And that's just simply due to the content. The differences between the content of the games. Not that Doki Doki Literature Club didn't have its heavy moments, but there's going to be less Mike simping here. A far, far less amount of Mike simping here. So, with that out of the way, let's jump into this, fam. Warning: the following experience is of no consequence. There is nothing to be learned, no relevant perspective to be conveyed, and no opportunity for any authentic expression of agency. There is no deeper meaning to it. Your choices do not matter. They never have.
You broke me like a habit, and I played you like the blues. Hey, see? I'm still working on that story. You know the one. The Chronicle of Regret. The Odyssey of Forgiveness. An elegy to the Scratchlands of defeat. I'm still working on that story, but I'm just about to quit. Can't quite nail the sit of the words and the turn of the page. It's got me thinking, maybe it's not my story to tell. It's got me thinking about moving on to the next thing. Maybe this is it. I need a smoke.
Let's get our cigarettes. Let's grab our smokes. So this game revolves around smoking. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of smoking going on here, fam. Not a very healthy lifestyle, but hey, 8 left. Last pack for real this time. But there is something to be said about the aesthetic of smoking. You know, it might not be very healthy, but it does have a very unique and a kind of a poignant aesthetic to it, I do have to admit. Such a beautiful moon out tonight. I just love the effect here of the moon on the water. I think it goes really well with the VHS style aesthetics that you see on the screen, that you can see throughout this game.
How long since I came to this place? You were gone, and in the spin of the wayward months I slipped from cold steel yearning into a warmer, deeper kind. Through that balmy pain blew the breeze that carried me to these shores. And I waited here for you. I would never say that, not before, not even to myself, that I was waiting for you. But I was waiting all the same. And all the more a fool I was for it. I should have known this is no place for the likes of you. The beacon shines through the night, warding the hapless away from these broken-hearted breakers. Never paid it much mind. Maybe it's time for a change.
This is a very beautiful place. I do love the lighthouse out in the far distance, and the way the palm trees they kind of line the road, and it all paints a kind of a peaceful yet calm scene with almost a touch of melancholy to it, almost. Now here we see looking on the ground, we're laying on the ground here. We see a page, and that's a mechanic of this game as well. So Max, as we found out in the intro, is an author, a writer of some sort, and so throughout this playthrough, you can find pages of a manuscript he's been working on that he's discarded, and we can read these as well. Cagney's eyes watch the void in these moments, when the prow of the Blue Monday aligns just so with the whirring of the spheres, obscuring the gauzy glow from the local suns. That's when he can look out into the great and true darkness and see the glimmering white lights of infinity. He's no supplicant to the sublime who sees the distant stars as a greater meaning than mortality, nor the smug sophist of society to whom those celestial beacons or lighthouses, plotting the domesticating sprawl of civilization. It's neither reverence nor recognition that possesses Cagney's gaze. He knows those distant solar systems hold no more significance than he does, drifting here in his tin bucket, and the stars themselves are just random fires burning for psychotic eternities amidst the slate black velvet of space-time. In these moments, he loses focus. He'd never been handsome, but now, with body blown by the winds of change and wrecked by the waves of vice, his visage has taken on a vile coarseness. He aches in his deepest crevices of himself. His furrowed skin let loose like decaying velum over the pulsing voracity of his veins. He can feel the recession of his gums from his long yellow teeth, the retreat of his hairline from his liver-spotted scalp, the brittleness of his bones held together only by ever-suffering cords of sinew. He'd always left death in his path, but now there can be no mistake death is coming for Cagney. Though the womb-like haze of his half-sleep addiction tugs at his ego, dragging it back from the precipice of oblivion. His hand rises on its own, slipping into the pocket of his beat-up slacks and returning with a crumpled cigarette pack. Last one, Cagney takes the filter between his lips and pulls the empty pack, transmutes into a burning lighter. Cagney draws deeply, the ember flaring as he sucks the smoke back up into his lungs, then exhales, blue-gray clouds billowing from his nostrils and up into the recycled atmosphere of the cockpit. The nicotine flows through his veins, coursing into his limbs and grinding them into motion. He rises without urgency or grace, lifting up his moth-eaten sport coat from the back of the seat, pulling across his I can't quite see that. His shoulders, fastening, and unfortunately that's where it cuts off at, fam. So maybe we'll find more of the story as we progress. Hey, it's a page from one of my old discarded drafts. It's funny, my old ideas always seem to pop up again in the weirdest places. Alright, let's go explore the room a little bit. Now we can turn the light on. Ooh, let's see if the TV works. Oh.
Life's a breeze, and we're all just embers. We flare for an instant, then fall into dust. Big smokes. Breathe deep. Life is short.
See, I love that. I love the commercial. It's really that commercial in this game when you turn the TV on. It's I don't want to say it's rare, but normally when you turn the TV on, you get I think it's a public domain video or movie, like this, for example. But if you want a good experience, I would highly recommend checking out that commercial on this game's Steam page. It is a very phenomenal commercial. I love the voice acting, and I love the music in it, just like I love the music in this game. I've always liked this picture. It's just quiche, but it's got a way about it. It reminds me of something, but I'm not sure what. Someplace I've been, maybe. Or maybe it just reminds me of the memory itself. Ooh, coffee maker. Examine. This coffee maker and I have been through a lot of long nights together. It's probably the only appliance in the room that Dino hasn't had to come fix. Keep it black and keep it coming, little buddy. Hey, I can respect that, fam. Coffee is life. No coffee, no life. And coffee will get you through some hard times, man. I'm tired of living out of a suitcase, but somehow it's always been easier than just committing to settling down. At this point, though, what's the difference? Classic fucking me. Even my baggage has baggage. Hey, I can relate to that. There was a point in my life where, back in 2011, me and my family, we had moved like 6 or 7 times in 1 year. And it got to the point where, you know what, I'm not even unpacking my shit anymore. I'm just taking out what I need, and that's that. So I can see where Max is coming from, to a certain extent. I mean, let's go out. Let's go out and explore the world. And we have the hotel lobby here. Alright, Alright, so now this game is a heavy game. But there's some non-heavy points to it. Alright, let's ring the bell. What are you doing, Max? Oh, let's see. Let's just say, just testing the bell. Sounds like it's passing with flying fucking colors. We're ringing the bell again, and again, and again. What, are you bored or something? Oh yeah. Well, Jesus Christ, get out of here. Get drunk, get stoned, get laid, but whatever you do, get the fuck away from that bell. Alright, let's talk to Dino. Getting a late start tonight, eh, Max? You're up pretty late yourself. It's par for the course these days. I never sleep anymore. I only got so much time left, closer to the end than to the start. Know what I mean? Can't go sleeping it all away. Little morbid, no? Hey, you got me all wrong, I'm just saying. Clock every moment, enjoy every sandwich, and fuck them all, kid, because you only remember the ones you don't. That's one of the things I like about Dino's character. Like, that is some... I'm not going to say I agree with that advice, because I do have my disagreements with it, but it's very realistic, especially for somebody like Dino, as we're going to find out. Excuse me. We're going to say sincere. We're going to sincerely say charming. I'm just telling it like I know it. You get to be my age, even the simple pleasures come harder. Enough of that though, what you getting up to tonight? I'm going for a smoke. Care to join me? Thanks, but no thanks. I kicked that habit years ago. Bad associations. You know how some people say they can't smoke without drinking? Well, for me, I can't smoke without selling blow. That's a wagon I do not want to fall off of. I used to get set up at a club, or a party, whatever. I just pick a spot, somewhere deep in the fucking armpit of the shindig, and I never sampled my own wares, right? Professional like. So I just sit there taking cash, slinging bags. And the whole time, I just be sucking butts all night long, smoking bogeys, till the morning come. One drag, I tell you, I'd be right the fuck back in it. The call of the fucking wild. When you got the white powder, boy, you're the fucking man. Things come to you. So we're gonna ask him, oh yeah, what kinds of things? What kinds of things you want? Money, friends, women, men? It's all on tap. But on the other hand, well, it's cocaine. There's a fucking dark side. I met the wife, dropped the game, bought a hotel, and left the old days in the rear view. Say, you're coming back right tonight? Oh, why would you ask that? That seems like an odd question to ask. Alright, so we're gonna ask him, why do you ask? Kid, I've been running this hotel 3.5 decades now. Decades. I know the goodbye look when I see it, and you got it. Now get out of here, go enjoy yourself, yeah? Alright, that's charming. That's not alarming at all. Goodbye look, what the fuck is that? He won't do it. Anyway, let's go explore the world and see what we can get up to.
Hey, see? See as in I see you when I sleep, even now, all these years gone. See as in, can I ask you? See as in, can you come back to me? See as in, I coulda, woulda, shoulda, but I can't. See, anyway, it coulda gone anyway else. Our uncoupled histories rolled on and left me here, high and lonesome as a folk song.
I still have some time before the bus comes. I can hang out here for a while and head to the bus stop whenever I'm ready. Alright, so we're gonna walk around and try to meet some people. So first, let's go to the beach. Now, I will say, I don't know who he's talking about. But man, does it seem like she had left a lasting impression on dude. Like, there's something there, and from what I can gather, apparently they were supposed to meet here in this city, but for some reason it never happened. And dude he's here, he was waiting, and now he's kind of here. But let's talk to this dude and see what he has to say. And his name is Pierre. My friend, could I trouble you for a cigarette? Oh, sure thing. Thank you. Join me, won't you? I'd be grateful for the company. It's been a night of strange omens. Omens? Of what? We'll ask him. That is just a question, isn't it? The signs come in peculiar forms. Restless dreams, mostly visions, perhaps shadows that walk in the streets like people, an open wound that speaks like a mouth and says nothing but the truth, a bird taking flight from a tower of flame. What do you make of that? Let's see, we have a lot of options here we can go with. We can say it's only a dream. The city does have its shadows. Sometimes I feel pretty shady myself. Maybe the truth-speaking wound is a symbol of some deep emotional pain. A tower of flame could be the lighthouse. I think we'll go with that one. A tower of flame could be the lighthouse. It is striking, isn't it? Floating in the dark out there like a ghost over the water. Would it really be even surprised if it had invaded my sleeping thoughts? And I think that's kind of interesting. Now, on the one hand, I do believe dreams can have meaning. When you look at different belief systems around the world, both the big ones and even traditional and Aboriginal beliefs, there tends to be a lot of meaning ascribed to dreams. Also in psychology, dreams tend to have meaning. Now, what the meaning is can mean different things. And I don't think every dream has a meaning necessarily, but I do believe dreams do contain a great deal of meaning. Sometimes there's a silly dream, sometimes there's a deeper dream, and it's not always certain which is which. But also what he said here is also true as well. Sometimes things will invade your dreams and influence your dreams. I've had that happen to me many times. I fell asleep with the TV on or listening to something, and it impacted my dream. So that's a really cool phenomenon, I think. Anyway, Sigmund Freud said that dreams are wish fulfillments, that in the realm of sleep we give ourselves what we desire most, for better or for worse. What do you think? You suppose I prefer this city be inhabited by shadows? Our choices are maybe it is, or Freud is dead. I think we'll go maybe it is. A fair point. The city seems to draw the lost and aimless, like a body draws flies. If you'll forgive my morbidity. Everyone you meet, it almost seems like their shadows casting them. And that sounds a bit platonic, right, FM? Especially at this time of night, huh? Haha. But, my friend, what brings you out here? Writer's block, a severe case, thinking too much I couldn't sleep, or just needed some air. I think we're gonna go with writer's block, a severe case. Ah, you got a story in your heart, huh? Just not on the page. I know the feeling. Sometimes it's just a matter of letting it flow as it needs to. Other times, though, is there such a thing as an unwritable story? A story that you can only tell yourself? Maybe a story like that is already in its most elemental form, pure vibe, all raw feeling, devoid of abstraction. I guess there are stories you live by telling and stories you tell by living. I'm sure you'll figure out which one this is. Just gotta fill it out. And this city, well, it's not the sort of place that anyone's from, is it? Well, I will say, he makes a great point when it comes to writing stories. There are some stories that, as a writer, I've always wanted to tell. I've always wanted to put down to paper. But I never, sometimes I can feel like my words don't do it justice, or maybe any words would really do it justice. Like, for example, how do you properly tell the story of when you met your true love, for example? Or how do you, tell a story that expresses the depth of emotion when you lose a parent? Our words escape us. They don't do, and when we can't grasp them, the words that we're able to grasp, they don't do justice to the expressions of the emotions we want to express. Anyway, now it's rather interesting what he says about this city. It's not the sort of place anyone's from, is it? So I could really see this being like a place like that people come to. Like, I've always got the impression that maybe this is like somewhere in Florida or Georgia, perhaps southern Georgia, maybe the Gulf. Somewhere in the Gulf states, but just based on the layout, it definitely has a tropical touch to it. Seems to be. Oh, one moment, I didn't quite read that. Alright, well, I guess we will not be reading that. Alright. Alright, so I'm guessing he asked why we ended up here. And our choices are coincidence. I sort of ended up here by accident. Fate. I just found myself here. I was waiting for someone, but she never came, and I just needed a place to write. So I think we're gonna go with I was waiting for someone, but she never came. Funny thing about people, oftentimes they just don't show up where you expect them. Other times they appear in the last place you would have thought they would. And that is another damn heavy point, fam. Oftentimes you'll find people, you will find friends in places that you never expected to. And other times you'll expect to find a friend in a place that you should, and one won't be found. So people are very damn peculiar like that. And that's one of the reasons I really love Pierre. Myself, I was a poet. I was looking for home, and I figured maybe there were other poets out there looking for the same thing. So I thought I would try and start something. Call it what you want: a company, a collective, a movement, a home for the terminally fragmented. And I wanted it to be real, brick and mortar, not just a space, but a house. I searched all over. Must have been 100 cities, 1,000 buildings, but I just couldn't find a place that spoke to me. Or maybe it was that I couldn't find a place that heard me the way I wanted to be heard. Eventually, as one does when something is missing and can't be found, I ended up here. I guess I'm still looking. Our choices are: there's something noble in that pursuit, don't give up, and the place you're looking for doesn't really exist, it was an ideal. I'm gonna go with the first one. Maybe so. I guess if you stop searching, you may as well already be dead. Hey, one of my favorite sayings, one of my favorite quotes is, where there is life, there is hope. So as long as you're living, don't ever give up. Trying to find people who relate to you, a place where you belong, is not an easy thing for some people. It wasn't easy for me. And I guess it wasn't easy for Pierre either. But the important thing is you don't give up. And hey, sometimes that pursuit is enough in itself to keep you satisfied. Some people like to say it's not about the destination, it's the journey. And for some people, that's very well true. But I won't waste any more of your time. Thanks for the smoke, my friend. I hope you find what you're looking for tonight. Alright. You know what? We've been standing a lot, so let's take a seat. Let's take a seat and have another smoke.
There are no seasons here, just the heat of the day, the cool of the night, and all the technicolor vapor in between. No chill wind or deep freeze, no falling leaves or cherry blossoms, and not that I ever cared much about stopping to smell the proverbial roses, but I remember the day you said to me, "Come walk with me, why don't you?" It was in the curve of springtime, all the green returning to the bones of the trees, and I looked at you and said, "Not today." I remember that day because if it had to come down to one day, maybe it would be that day, the day that you walked away and came back, the day that you felt inside yourself how it felt to be outside of us. A day wasted, just like any other. But it was never just one day. One day slips away in a breath, bleeds into the next the way a dream bleeds into waking. Indistinguishable in flux, then gone in a breeze like smoke.
Ooh, that's heavy, fam. That right there is heavy. Yeah. When you get older, you start to realize just how valuable your time is. And time is a resource. It's a real resource. It's not like money that's abstract, or it's not like water. It's not like gold or anything like that. Once your time is gone, there's no getting more. You have what you have. And as you get older, those regrets of wasted time start to hit you harder. Especially the time you could have spent with people, the people that matter most. And this hits you especially hard after relationships are over. And this hits you especially hard after, you lose people because of death. And I feel like that's what Max is going through. Max, he seems like the type of person who he doesn't easily forget the things that he wishes to forget. And in many ways, I can relate to that. I will say, dude, he loves his cigarettes. He is putting them down all night. He's putting them away tonight, fam. He is putting them down tonight. Or he's putting them away tonight, I should say. Alright, so let's go see what else we can find here. So, now this city is full of characters. We already met Pierre, and we've talked to Dino. But, you know, they aren't the only characters here in this really beautifully made world. Nor are all the characters here necessarily strangers to. But one of the things you will find is that apparently Max has been here for some time. You know, not only does the speech he gave in the room, you know, hint that he's been staying here for a while because Dino has had to fix a lot of his appliances. You know, that doesn't happen. You know, if you're just staying somewhere very briefly. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen if you're just staying somewhere very briefly. But also the way some of the characters talk, and let's talk to one such character now. This perhaps might be one of the more poignant ones. Max, how they hangin', Daddy-o? Well, our choices are one lower than the other, or leaning to the left, shooting to the right. I think we'll go with the first one. One lower than the other. Try to keep your balance, yeah? Don't tip yourself over. And we can ask her, how's the scene tonight? What are you singing tonight? How are you feeling tonight? We'll ask, how are you singing tonight? Oh, I'm sorry, how's the scene? Oh, I'm sorry. What are you singing tonight? I've been working on an arrangement of a song I heard a long time ago. Nothing too special, just a pretty ditty about love, kinda sweet, kinda sad. Saw a cover band play it in some dirty little dive when I was just getting started. I asked them who did the original, wanted to go back to the source, you know. Turns out they'd only heard a cover of the song themselves. Nobody knew the original artist. Damn, that's something, man. That's something. But I've had a similar experience, you know, here. You know, I was traveling through the city here once, and I stopped at the bus stop. Well, it's not really a bus stop. We don't really use buses, or at the time we didn't really use buses here, but we had like something similar to a tuk-tuk, if you're familiar with what a tuk-tuk is. Not a tuk-tuk, but it's similar. But anyway, point being is, I stopped, and this stop was in front of a mall, and there was a concert outside of the mall, a local band playing. And at the time, my Indonesian wasn't really so good. Not that my Indonesian is great now by any stretch of the imagination, but they were a rock band. They were playing this song, and it had the most melancholic but beautiful sound to it, especially that ending riff. But because of the nature, the language, you know, I was never able to find that song again, and I probably never will be able to find that song again because it's been years. So just kind of sitting there in the moment, enjoying it. And this story right here that Lucy's telling, it kind of seems like it captures that a bit. But you know, in this situation, the people were able to, you know, capture that. Maybe they don't have all the necessary details of what's going on or who made it originally, but they're able to recreate it. And based on that, they're able to share it, which I think is a really neat idea. But I wonder if this is going to lead to something else. I forgot the song for a long time, but the other night I had a dream about it. And when I woke up, I remembered it perfectly, figured out it was a sign. Damn, this is somebody else with a dream. You know, I played this game a couple times, but you know, I've never really noticed just how big dreams are. Though I will say I don't always choose the same thing. when I choose the dialogue options too. So maybe somebody will hear me sing it tonight, and years from now they'll do a cover of their own. I like the thought of that. That is cool though. That is cool. You get inspiration from somebody who's gotten inspiration from somebody, and you yourself go on to inspire somebody else who themselves may go on to inspire somebody else. The torch gets passed, and the light stays alive. And I think that's remarkable. Anyway, I thought you were writing tonight. You trying to come in, grab a drink, catch a few tunes? Not tonight. I'm looking to catch a bus out to the Beacon. You mean the old lighthouse? Romantic, I guess, in a rustic sort of way. What do you want to go all the way out there for? So, and we can choose Fault to Light might have some answers. Figured the sea air might do me some good. And just thought it would be good to get out of the city. I think we're going to go with the first one. Fault to Light might have some answers. I'd say that depends on what kinds of questions you have, or if you're even really looking to answer your questions. Maybe what you ought to do is question your answers. Dig? Either way, you're probably right. Couldn't hurt to cast a little light on the subject. What's got you so restless tonight anyhow? So we can choose somebody I used to love or somebody I used to be. I think we're going to go somebody I used to love. Do you still love this somebody? I do. I can't help it. No, she's gone now. I love is only a memory. Or I don't know. I haven't seen her in years. For all I know, she's a completely different person now. This is a tough one, fam. This is a tough one. I feel like he probably still does, because if she was just some random person by now, I mean, would he really still have this amount of regret over what happened in the past? So I feel like he does. So I'm gonna go with I do. I can't help it. It's funny how something like love can just go by itself, huh? Like we say, fall in love, but it's not really falling. It's like some incredible wind that sweeps us away. Hey, I will 100% agree with that. Like, love, you never know when it's going to hit you, and you never know how hard it's going to hit you. And love will take you away from here, fam. Love will take you away mentally. It will take you away physically, fam. And for some people, it's like a high. It really is. It's like a high. And I'm probably telling on myself a little bit with that statement, but yeah. The falling comes later. Just goes to show we're not really in control in the big scheme of things. Now this is another big theme in this game right here. Control, or fate, we can say. Are we really in control of our actions or the things that happen to us, or is it all predetermined, or somewhere in between? And our choices are here. There's something kind of liberating in that. Or doesn't matter, in control or not, we still end up living with the consequences. I personally, I feel like there's something liberating in that. Yeah, in a doing 100 on the highway and taking your hands off the wheel sort of way. When I was a teenager, I used to tell people I wasn't afraid of death. I didn't really believe it though. I just thought it sounded badass. Well, I will say death affects people differently. The thought of death does, for me, death doesn't really bother me so much. You know, it doesn't. I'm not scared of death. Um, what gets me is the sudden occurrence of death. You know, for me, the fall of death is kind of like, you know, you're playing Pokemon and you're walking out in the bushes, and you know, random Pokemon can appear at any time. That's what gets me about death, and all the things you left undone that you wanted to do or you should have done, or all the things that you should not have done that you did do and you left, you know, you left without fixing it. That's what gets me. But again, everybody reacts to death differently. But looking back, I think it was true. I was reckless then. Mortality was just an abstract concept. And that's another true point as well. My dad all the time used to tell me and my brothers, like, when you're young, you think you're Superman. You think you'll live forever. And that's true. When I was a teenager, when I was in my early 20s, you know, the thought of death never really occurred to me. Like, you know, I could down half a gallon of vodka in an hour and, you know, think nothing is wrong with that. I mean, I paid for it the next day, of course, but, you know, at the time, you know, the thought that this is a bad idea, that I could die from this, you know, it didn't really hit me. But I think it's a common occurrence, you know, when you're young, you know, mortality doesn't really come into play. But as you get older and more people around you, more people that are close to you, they pass away, that mortality, I believe, becomes something more in your mind. You know, it's still not easy to grasp. It's still not easy to grasp unless you lose people that are very close to you. But it's something that as you get older, it becomes more and more of a reality, I would say. These days, I don't know. I'm not afraid of death, but I'm not too nervous about it either. I guess you gotta go sometime. But hey, while we're here, might as well make a lot of noise. Feel me? Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. You know, my friend, my damn good friend, and my favorite streamer, Zarkon, he once said something. He said, life is like a high score game. The longer you live, the higher your score. So you gotta try to live as long as you can, make as much noise as you can. You know, don't go into that darkness all quiet, but raise some hell, leave your mark, do what you can do, fam. To say, hey, you know what, I may not be here forever, but I was here at this time. And, you know, and try to leave your impact for the best. I'm going on soon, so be a doll and give me a little space to collect myself, huh? And take care of yourself, Max. Try not to think too hard. Alright.
I never think about the beginning. It's too hard to see you as I did then, in the morning of our love. Better to think of the end and work backwards. Retreat. That's the easy way. I never think of the end either. I stick to the in-betweens, between life and death, between top shelf and rail, between matter and ghost. I slip out sideways. My existence is an infinity of intermediacies, an eternity of false starts and falling short. I'm not raw about it. After all, failure is simply the wage of being a man. This life is an immaculate drag, and you were my favorite mistake.
You know, Max raises some really interesting points here. First, you know, I like to say this because, you know, when it comes to philosophy, epistemology, how we know things and the nature of knowledge is one of my areas I'm greatly interested in. But perception is a motherfucker, okay? I will say that perception is a motherfucker. And this is especially true when it comes to people. You know, if you look at a person you are in love with, your perception of that person when you first meet them, and how it differs, you know, from your perception when that relationship ends. it's almost as if they were two different people. And in many regards, they probably are two different people, just as, ourselves are always changing. They're always changing as well. But I think part of the issue is that, love really changes how we view the world, how we view people. It gives us rose-tinted glasses. And let's be real here, fam. Let's be real here. That that pre-nut confusion plays a huge role in how we interpret things. But after the relationship is over with, you got that post-nut clarity. Things look different. Things look really, really different. But it is interesting, and also what's interesting to keep in mind here is that when you're looking at people like that, you also have to understand that they're going to be seeing you the same way. How they saw you at the beginning of the relationship is not going to be the same as how they will see you looking back, especially towards the end. And who's the real person? Is there a real person? I don't really have an answer to that. I don't think. But it is something interesting to consider. Something interesting to think about. Also, Max said the wages of a man, is to fail, or something to that extent. And that's that is a hard hitting line for me. We say to err is to be human. So, you're gonna make mistakes. You're always gonna make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, but you're just trying to be the best you can, fam. Now, one of the things I love about this game is the VHS aesthetics, and this game world is not a very large world. So if you go too far in one direction in the world, you're going to see the VHS this VHS effect, and I wanted to show you this here.
For a time, I searched the city for a place to settle down, but that's not how it works here. The streets and corners flow together and fold back in on themselves. I would always find myself returning to the shore. I suppose that's the fate of those who move without purpose, to ever exist upon the border between solid and fluid, the mirror between the earth and the sky, the smoke between freedom and death.
Yeah, like I was saying, I really enjoy the VHS aesthetics here, fam. Really, really enjoy that. And that's one of the reasons with the colors being like they are. Well, I should also point out that I'm playing this game on the lowest settings. So I normally, when I play this game by myself, I play it on the highest settings, and it is a beautiful game. It is a very beautiful game, even on the lowest settings. It's very beautiful. But here it's even more so, but on the highest settings it's beautiful as well. But when I play on the highest settings, it's good enough for me to enjoy it by myself, and I'm really good at it. But unfortunately, my computer can't play it good enough to show the world, so we're checking it out on the lower settings. So just kind of keep that in mind, that if you decide to check this game out for yourself, and I highly recommend you do that if you play it on the highest settings, it's going to look much better than this, and this is already good looking. So but I do enjoy this. I do enjoy this this VHS look. She's another character I really, really like here. Alright, her name is Ricky, and so she's sitting out here on the ground smoking. And so Should we ask her everything alright, or you don't look too happy? I think we're gonna go with the first one. Everything alright? I just want to fucking dance. But apparently that's too much to ask. The bouncer in there says they're full to capacity. Well, we can tell her you could just go to another club, or you could just dance in the street. I think we'll go with the first one. You could just go to another club. There is no other club, not for me. This one's all I've got left. Oh, damn, I wonder if she got kicked out. I've spent all night searching uptown, downtown, midtown. This fucking city. It doesn't make any sense, but I don't care anymore. I just want to fucking dance. I'm sorry, I just forget it. We can ask her, you want to talk about it? Or we can ask her, what's so special about this club? I think I would, like in real life, I probably would go with the first one. You want to talk about it. Because that's just kind of the person I am. I kind of also want to ask, what's so special about this club? I think we'll go with the first one. I don't know. I just feel like I'm never going to make anything, you know? You know what I mean? My mark, my little fucking difference in the world, something that people associate specifically with me. Bro, that is a real fucking feeling, fam. That, oh my god, that shit hits me. That shit hits me. Like, I'm here now, but when I'm gone, will people know I'm here now? Will I have left a positive mark on the world that people will associate with me, or will I be like the proverbial footprints in the sands of the beach that get washed away by the shore? I mean, I'm sorry, by the waves. It is something fucking. It is a real, very realistic thought to have pop into your mind. Something that'll outlive me. And yeah, you know, the hope with something like that is that it kind of gives you a sense of immortality, you know. You know, of course we're all gonna die at some point, but you know, having something that outlives you will give you immortality in a sense. Something that'll outlive me. So we could say maybe you won't, or no point in giving up. And yeah, I'm definitely a no point in giving up type of guy. That's debatable. Oh, okay. Well, shit. Apparently Ricky is not that type of gal. So, or at least, I don't know. Hey, that's not fair for me to say. I'm an optimist. Maybe Ricky is a realist, maybe. Not necessarily a pessimist, but maybe she's a realist. I was a special kid. That's what they said. So creative, such a vivid imagination, like it was some kind of gift. But it's not. Creativity is a curse. It addles your brain till you can't even sit through a class or hold a regular fucking job without being pumped full of speed. Oh. Well, well, I guess when you put it like that, I mean, yeah, I can see how it's a curse. But I mean, to be stuck in a job in a situation where you can't express yourself, where you can't use your creativity, yeah, I can definitely see that being a curse. I can definitely see that. It traps you in your own mind till you can barely relate to anyone in a healthy way, and eventually you either melt down or just cut off completely. Bro, I mean, I've never had a meltdown, or I'm not sure by meltdown if she means like she just goes to fuck off on everybody around her, or if she means this is like a mental breakdown type of situation. But I've never really had that to happen, but I'm more of a just cut off completely. Like I'm a type of person, I withdraw into myself. And I could see. And through it all, this agonizing compulsion to just make something, to cut a piece out of yourself, to put it on display for everybody to see, it's fucking unseemly. You've got it too, I can tell. The fucking curse of the creative mind. Why else would you be out here tonight? Well, goddamn, that's pretty astute. That is a pretty astute reading of Max. You know, Max being a writer. And as a writer, I'm sure he probably does get trapped in his mind a lot. As a writer, I can tell you that, you know, I will just drift in what most people assume to be daydreaming. Like sometimes, for example, I'll be with my wife and I'll just, from her perspective, it's like I'm just staring off into fucking space. So damn. But you know, I've never really looked for that in other people though. I've never really looked for that in other people the way Ricky looked and saw that in Max. So tell me, what do you make? We can say stories, excuses, mistakes. God damn. I'm not so sure about excuses, but damn, I think stories or mistakes, both of these would work really good for Max. I think I'm gonna go with stories. Yeah, well, we're all telling stories, but here's to the words on the page and the writing on the fucking wall. Big, goofy bubble letters saying it's all going to shit. But that's just life. Everybody's always fucking things up. If you're one of the lucky ones, you never get your illusions shattered. Well, the thing about it is, you are like you have your life, and everybody else has their life too, and yeah, people will probably fuck things up either knowingly, which is horrible, or unknowingly, and but likewise, you're doing the same thing too. You know, for example, you get that new job that you always wanted. Well, that means somebody else did not get that job. So you fucked things up for them, and that doesn't make you a bad guy. But you know, from that person's perspective, you're the antagonist in their story. So that's just kind of how it is. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing or it's a good thing. I just think that's just how it is. You get to walk around feeling like you're doing all right. Maybe you even feel like you made it. Now this one, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure what to choose here. How are you feeling? Or I haven't felt like I was doing all right in a long time. But you know, I feel like we've done a lot of the first. We chose a lot of the first. So let's choose this one. I haven't felt like I was doing all right in a long time. You probably never will again. You know the most fucked up thing about it? Even if we were to make it, whatever that means, would we even be able to fill it? Or will we just keep chasing it? Damn. Don't answer that. If you make it, you come find me, let me know. I'm sure it'll still be right fucking here. I'm sure I'll still be right fucking here. And that's a good point. I mean, that's an interesting point she makes, fam. I mean, if you make it, is it ever really enough? I mean, being around and with other YouTubers, VTubers, it feels like enough is never fucking enough. Like you always gotta grow, and it's not just limited to those types of people, but you'll find this in many fields. Um, you'll find this in many fields, especially in politics and and acting and big corporate jobs. Never enough is never enough. You always got to feed that dragon. You always got to chase the next big thing. And you're never satisfied. So you end up being like Alexander the Great, for example, who conquered all the known world, most of the known world, from Greece to northwestern India. And even though he didn't live to conquer the lands, he didn't live to rule the lands he conquered. He had ambitions to go further east to China, or he wanted to go back and conquer Arabia or the Romans. So even for somebody like him, as like we normally look up to as somebody noble, at least in the popular imagination, he couldn't be satisfied with what he had. And many people today, on a smaller scale, of course, are very much like Alexander the Great, never being satisfied with what they have, but always wanting more and more. And yeah, it's probably a curse. That's probably a curse. It's probably something people have within them, like, they have like a hole that it can't be filled, or they think that happiness or fulfillment comes from, achievements and external things. But when you try to fill a hole with things that don't belong there or can't fill that hole properly the way it should be filled, then it's never going to be satisfied. Just trying to fucking dance. All right. So now we got one more character we can talk to. Breathe deep. Life is short. Are you sure you should be smoking? Isn't it dangerous to smoke near an oxygen tank? Yeah, I think we're going to go with that second one. Isn't it dangerous to smoke near an oxygen tank? The valve's closed, and I don't mind living a bit on the edge. If I catch fire, hey, just toss me over the railing. I could use a swim anyway. What's your excuse? This is my last pack. I'm quitting tonight. Well, I saw you were doing it. Or I like tar. I think we'll go with this is my last pack. I'm quitting tonight. Hey, good for you, shaking the monkey off your back. Here's hoping you stick it out. I've no doubt you will. Just be careful. You don't want to live too clean. I mean, yeah. I mean, you gotta have fun sometimes, fam. I mean, now I'm not saying go out and do blow and get hookers and stuff like that. I mean, but you gotta do something. You gotta live your life. You got to experience things. I mean, even things sometimes that aren't necessarily good, like junk food. I mean, every once in a while you got to treat yourself. Funny thing about smoking, it's always helped me breathe. Oh, that's something. Not like breathe, just, take a breath, step away from the world. Okay, yeah, I could see that. Well, especially I think Stu was Oh, Stu's coughing a bit. Anyway, but yeah, I could see that. I'm not a smoker myself. I've never smoked cigarettes in my life, let me say. But I can imagine, having to go away to designated area, step out on the porch to take a smoke, step out on the balcony to take a smoke. Will kind of give you, a room for reflection. So I can understand that. I could really, really understand that. So yeah, I could see that. I could see that how taking smoking gives you a chance to take a step back. Kind of like how some people, when they want to make an important decision, they'll go for a walk. Personally, I don't trust anyone who's not killing themselves, just a little bit. And our choices are nothing more human than self-destruction, I guess. Or that's a little fatalistic, isn't it? You know what? Hmm. That's a little fatalistic, isn't it? No, it's a lot fatalistic, but it's still the only tenable position. Everything ends eventually, ashes to ashes and all that. True privilege is being able to choose how you go out, not necessarily the way of it, but at least the circumstances surrounding it. It's a proud thing to build a life worth ending. And our choices here are death's a hard thing to come to grips with. Sometimes I feel like I'm already dead. Nah, death is easy, you just sort of slip into it. It's all the nonsense leading up to it that gives you the problems. It's hard to live. Maybe that's why you're out catching a bus at this time of night. And our choices here are I'm going to check out the lighthouse or I just need a change of scenery. Well, I'll be damned, you're going all the way, huh? End of the line. End of the line. That sounds kind of ominous. I'm not going that far, not tonight. Everyone complaining about the city, but I'm fond of it. I like the way days run together. And I like how transient it all is. Makes it easy to not commit to anything. Nobody's from here, nobody ever settles down or dies of old age. Everyone who comes to this city comes to disappear. And one way or another, they all do. And we can choose, it's kind of sad when you put it that way. Or it's kind of beautiful when you put it that way. We'll go with it's kind of beautiful. It is, isn't it? Sublime, like a rainstorm or a fever. There's a certain dignity in phasing out, fading away, going the way of smoke and memory. Good to talk to a fellow traveler anyhow. Maybe I'll see you again, in another life, on the other side. Oh. Well, I guess Stu does look like he could go at any time, and to be honest. Last one, I'll save it for the beacon. The bus should be here soon anyhow. Alright, so we're gonna sit. The bus will take me all the way to the beacon. I'm ready to go.
I dreamt that all the lovers I ever loved were all the same love, over and over and over again. The same ups and downs, the same starts and storms, the same beginning and the same end, again and again. And then I woke up, remembering her face. And she had one of those faces. She could have been anyone. I guess that's the point. See, a lover is a mirror and a love a special sort of reflection. A trick of the light and a flattering angle from which to see the whole in ourselves. For a flicker of time, she was you. and I lost myself in you, like fog or nicotine.
Now, that's something that hits hard for me. That really hits me hard. I've often thought about love like that, actually. So, your lover's like a mirror of you. And when you look into that person, you see a reflection of yourself. Um, and sometimes you might not like what you see. You might see ugliness. But the trick is you use that image of yourself just like you would a normal mirror. You look in the mirror to make sure your face is clean, your clothes are on right, everything's looking good. Well, likewise with that mirror that you see of yourself when you look into your lover, you use that to correct yourself to be a better person. Um, but you have to realize what you're seeing first, and that can be the challenge. Um, also, what he mentioned is very subjective. When you it's something I've always thought about myself. When we love someone, when we see someone, when we have affection for someone, is it really that person um, that we really love, or is it our idea of that person, which very much is a reflection of ourselves? Our ideas just don't pop into our heads, by themselves. They come from within us. So, in many regards, they contain a part of us. So, I don't have an answer to that, but it's something I think about quite often. Now, we're here in this place. It's an interesting place. Actually, it's really cool because it reminds me a lot of the place where I live now. Very green, very lush. We have a mixture of temperate trees and palm trees. Um, Almost like it's at a higher elevation, perhaps, than the city. Well, indeed, it is at a higher elevation, but, a significantly higher elevation, I should say. Because, in the city, we only see palm trees.
I've made up my mind. This will be the last story I ever write about you. The last words I utter with you on the brain. The last letter home. I've lived far too long in this empty city of what-have-yous and if only you had. As the new morning crests over the sea, the ember of my last cigarette will flare in time with the turning of the beacon. And as the filter begins to burn, I will breathe the last of you deep into me, and then out to join the wind.
Oh, that sounds kind of heavy, actually. It sounds like this is gonna be a finale of some sort. Um, but it's daytime, or it's dawn, I should say. The sun is rising. The sky is pink. The lighthouse is still going. It's at that interesting time where the lights from the night are still on, but the light of the sun is barely starting to break. And you can kind of see that over the water is the sun where the moon was earlier. Very beautiful view. Very beautiful game. But you notice the music is gone, everything is quiet. So I think this is time for us to have our final smoke and face the dawn.
And just like that, in one immaculate drag, I'll be gone.
And that's that. Now, it is a rather interesting situation. Um, we don't really know what happens to Max. I didn't really want to point it out while playing the game. itself, but it's heavily hinted at or foreshadowed that Max is going to kill himself. Um, and and some endings hint at this maybe a bit more, but Max, the way what Dino says, what Stu says when you talk to him, um, it it all kind of it points to that. It really really points to that. But we really don't know. It's very much an open-ended ending, and I do like that. Um, and I really really do like that. Did Max really go through with it? Did he jump? Did Max leave the city? Um, what happened to Max? And I would love to hear what your interpretations are of this. And also, I do apologize. My computer does not like the credits, so I know the sound here is probably not going to be the best in the world. Um, a very special thanks to C, as in see you later. It didn't show that part for some reason, um, but yeah, special thanks to C, as in see you later, which is a line I really really loved. So. Um, But yeah, so now I'm going to give my thoughts on this, whole experience, and just for complete transparency, this is a video I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. So these won't be so much off the cuff. I did actually make an outline for this part. Um, Now, the Immaculate Drag. So first and foremost, let me just point out again that I did an episode of Coffee with Big Mike back in 2022 with the developer Discrete Infinity, and so I had a discussion with him. We talked about this game heavily, and he said it was influenced by his film studies, his philosophy studies, and his years of dealing with depression. And I could see this. I really feel all of those things play a very strong part in this game. You know, I, I, I feel like I can definitely see the philosophy in it. The philosophy major in me can see the philosophy in this game. The influences and also the film aspects as well. There's some very cinematic scenes in this game, like when Max was sitting on the bench, for example, and after we talked to Pierre, the cinematography there is absolutely wonderful. Um, Now, I will say this game I feel like is an attempt, and I will say a rather successful one in my opinion, at capturing that ephemeral, transient nature of life. The happenings of our past are very. It's meant to capture that moment. It's meant to feel like that. Have you ever thought of a memory, for example? The things that happened in our past. You know, did they really happened, but they feel like they can sometimes feel like they didn't. They're kind of like they're very much like a cigarette smoke. It's there for a moment, while you're living that experience, but then after that, it dissipates into nothingness. And I feel like this game perfectly captures that experience. And going back to that analogy, that cigarette smoke analogy, once you're done smoking and the cigarette smoke dissipates, it's almost like that cigarette smoke was never really there. Likewise, after that memory you've made has vanished, the thing that caused that memory has vanished. It's no more. That moment has passed. It's like that's never existed. And there's a kind of sadness to that, but there's also a beauty to that as well. There's a deep beauty to that. And I recently had a birthday. And as I inch closer to turning 40, I reflect more and more on my memories, and I relate to this very heavily. There are many wonderful and meaningful moments in my life that I can't prove happened. They're just like that cigarette smoke. But that's part of what makes it beautiful. That's part of what makes those memories so beautiful. Think of a firework, if you will. If it lasted forever, it would lose what makes it so special. That brief burst of beauty that lights up the night before dissipating. And this game has made me really think that. This game has helped me to see things like that. Um, and I talked to Discrete Infinity about this, and I feel like a game conveys this more than a film ever could. And um, you know, because as a game, you actually put yourself in the shoes of Max, and you're experiencing the world from his perspective. And I don't think it could convey quite the same, experience, quite the same feelings or emotions that, if it was a movie. If that makes sense. And now I just want to talk a bit about the characters. So I really enjoy the characters in this game. They were all well written. They all reflect different aspects of Discrete Infinity and the people he interacted with. And they all speak to me. They all speak to different parts of me. Like Ricky, for example. Ricky's, she speaks to the creative. The downsides of being a creative person. Um, but my favorites are Pierre and Dino. And for me, I relate to Pierre because he's a poet. He searches for the ideal in an imperfect world that may have never existed or may not exist. And that's me, both as a poet and as a philosopher. I search for the ideal in an unideal world. I search for perfection in a world in which perfection doesn't exist. And also, like Pierre, Pierre, he desperately searches to find others he can relate to. That's been me, various times in my past, in places that I feel like most of the people did not, I could not relate to. And then there's Dino. He had quite the life experience. I mentioned before, I mentioned before about his advice, and I think again that is very realistic advice he gives. Like for example, like my granddad, like for example, my mom's dad, he once, he once told me something very similar. He said, "You gotta fuck every woman you can, Michael, because once you get to the my age, you regret not taking advantage of that." And I don't think that's like I said before. I don't think that's necessarily good advice, or I necessarily would agree with that advice. But I do think it's something real, like you could realistically hear from somebody who's lived a life like that. And kind of just the last thing I want to touch on here is the idea of choice in this game. We start with the disclaimer. Your choices don't matter; they never have. And while this game may seem like a world away from Doki Doki Literature Club, um, in many ways it's not so different in some regards. In Doki Doki Literature Club, your choices don't really matter. In the grand scheme of things, you're always going to get to that scene where Sayuri hangs herself, or you're always going to end up with Monica just destroying everything. Likewise, here in this game, you're always going to get to the bench at the end. Nothing's ever going to change, no matter what choice you choose. Um, and that's something interesting to consider. Um, I myself, I don't think I don't believe in free will. I don't think, or at least not total free will. I believe we have free will of our intentions, but that's about it. Um, so this game speaks to me in that regards as well. Now that doesn't mean we shouldn't try, do the right thing. That doesn't mean we shouldn't, we shouldn't try our best to leave our mark. It's just that in this particular situation, we do what we can do, and we do our best. And whatever the outcome may be, it's beyond our control, and we take our piece in that. So I love I love this game. This game speaks. It's not a very long game. It's not a very long game, but it speaks to me on a very deep level. Um, on a very, very deep level. And so much so that even though it's such a short game, it's one I come back to at least once a year. And I don't feel like I could ever do this game justice, the justice it deserves here. But I hope in watching this video and experiencing this video with me, experiencing this game with me in this video, that you lovely guys, gals, and non-binary pals and waterfowls would also appreciate this too. And Discrete Infinity, I am very sorry it took forever and a day for this video to be made. This has been a dream video of mine, and man, you you are a genius. You are a genius when it comes to writing, when it comes to storytelling, and I look forward to checking out your later work. Um, and to everybody else who's watching us, I do apologize that this whole video came out a bit heavy because this is a very heavy subject, and I'm not in this video. I'm not the normal Big Mike that you're used to. Um, but I knew that going into this video, going into this subject matter, that things were going to be different for this video. Um, it's not a it's again it's not a light video, so. It's not a light subject, so but next video thing should be back, we'll be back to normal. But until then, I want to thank you all for watching. Also, I want to thank Discrete Infinity. Way back in the day, Discrete Infinity, Discrete Infinity. There we go, Discrete Infinity. See, this is how I'm not. I'm honest with you when I tell you I don't edit I don't edit my gameplay videos. Um, Discrete Infinity sent me a free copy of the Immaculate Drag, and I greatly appreciate that. It's been a great treasure, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for the game. It's a treasure, and thank you so much to all you lovely guys, gals, non-binary pals, and waterfowls who stuck around and watched this video. Um, I look forward to seeing you all again soon. And until next time, fam, remember, in a world that's constantly trying to change you, be brave enough to be yourself. And if you be yourself, Big Mike knows and he believes you will be awesome. Peace out.